What's up, Adrian? I think this one is saying for self-hosting today. And it's supposed to be for Firecrawl. Adrian, what did it say for you on the event today? Hey, Adam.
Hey, good morning.
Hey, what did it say for the event today? Did it say self-hosting or did it say Firecrawl?
I saw Firecrawl.
Okay.
Let me double check. Yep.
Okay. I think it's because I changed some titles and some days around. I think for me, it's still just saying the original day and it doesn't like delete the old one.
I've got self-hosting for tomorrow.
Got you. And they also sometimes do that. They send the one for tomorrow at the same time when like this one's happening as a reminder. So weird.
It is, it's a little bit spammy. I
Is
got,
it?
and it may just, part of it might be my settings, but I got like calendar reminders. I got a text reminder, and then I feel like I got three reminders for the event today, and then another reminder for the event tomorrow, or something like that. I think that's
I
how
have
it's
to,
flowing.
I have to check that because I don't even think I've set any settings at all to send anything besides just
Yeah, so the
like,
calendar one, I think, yeah, I have to double check. Maybe my calendar's just like on blast. It's like hitting every
like with
channel
the
I have.
continuous reminders, like with the,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's why I said it may be me.
got you. Yeah, I'm not sure. I haven't played it because you don't get a lot of settings to like play around with unless you're like you have a paid Luma account. From my
Yeah,
understanding, yeah, and I haven't paid for it, so I can't like do a lot of crazy automations or like reminders or stuff like that.
yeah, it's probably my settings. I'll have to double check what I got default on my calendar, my Google Calendar.
Yeah, I think Adrian was having problems. He may drop out trying to get back in. How you doing, Greg? Morning or good afternoon? Oh, and actually, before I start this, probably give it probably like 5 more minutes. Let some people come in if some more people are going to join and get started. Probably going to be my favorite little platform to go over today. Firecrawl is pretty great, pretty amazing. Solves a lot of problems, especially for projects that I have to build a majority of the time. And it shows some examples of that.
Yeah, how do you feel? I haven't used it heavily. I have used it, but like, how do you feel it does in terms of scrape, versus something targeted like Apify or something?
Well, I mean, like, mm, the only difference really between Firecrawl and Apify is that Apify scrapes social media platforms where Firecrawl does not because
Mm,
they
mm,
follow the text rules basically
right.
of
Okay.
those social platforms to not scrape them. But really, I mean, besides that, like from a developer point, they're probably still using all this technology at the end, right? So they're more than likely using Playwright, more than likely using Puppeteer. It's just they have a lot of other things packaged with that that makes it way easier. To
Yeah.
be honest, I'm still surprised Apify exists for scraping, but it's mainly probably because people don't know platforms like Firecrawl and other scraping
Right.
platforms exist. But I mean,
Yeah.
it comes down to a preference, I guess. But I don't use Apify for scraping anything. I don't really scrape social media posts, and I try not
Yeah.
to
Okay.
I try not to even take projects that do scraping like that. I do have like my ethical boundaries with like being a technologist and a developer. I'm not a big fan of scraping stuff in general. But I
Yeah.
do understand like why it needs to be done or why you would do it if that makes sense. I just think it's like a limit to it. Some people want to scrape like a grip of social media post and do stuff. And I think it's probably just maybe because that's because I don't acquire leads that way, or like
Yeah. Okay.
use that data to acquire leads that way. Like a majority of my leads come from a very large referral network that I have, right? So I don't need to go scrape data. But like I said, I understand why it's been done though. But I do think Firecrawl is a better platform, but maybe it depends on like what you're judging and maybe
Yeah.
like mainly what you're trying to scrape. But the other side is like we might get into it a little bit later. Like you can self-host Firecrawl. So I mean you can like
Oh, I didn't know
make
that actually.
yeah, you can make the part that doesn't scrape the social media. You just have to add on to it. Like if you don't want to pay and
Yeah.
then self-host it and do like all these other things. But that's just a personal choice, you know.
Yeah. I actually had no idea that Firecrawl was open source.
Yeah, I'm gonna get into a little bit of that before I start going into using Claude Code with it, just to like get some ideas and talk a little bit more about some differences. And maybe you guys might have some questions. I've had some other people join. They might have questions. I know Adrian was interested in if it could scrape social media, and I was letting him know it couldn't. But yeah, I
Y-
will.
Yeah, I would be interested in the social media scrape. My perspective is not any commercial aspects in terms of like leads or anything like that. I'm not interested in that. My interest is in research and compiling information, trend analysis across time, and for that you need to like get some posts from different lead thinkers and in the fields and things like that, and it's just it's useful to do that, and a lot of platforms are making it difficult. There's ways of doing it, there's plugins and things like that, but a lot of it is just kind of a manual process and just eats up too much of one's time. And now that we have AI and everything, you can do a lot of good research if you have access to good data.
Right, got you. Got you. Yeah, I'll go into a little bit of that. Greg, how are you doing? I think this is maybe, is this your first time attending one of the events?
Yeah, it is my first time. Yeah, thanks for being here. It's great meeting you last week, Adrian and Adam. I'm a newbie here. I do love and enjoy this idea of you know, this using scraping tools. More importantly, bigger than that, like learning agents and for research. I work in the traditionally in the entertainment world, but I'm launching some healthcare products that uh, I'm looking to understand the best way to grab data from social media trends, researching, kind of looking at hooks, and that would be ideal. But I've become my own little version of a vibe coder, making my little apps here and there. So I'm definitely a novice when it comes to this programming side. So I'm here to learn, and I can't stay on the call the whole time, but heck, man, just want to pick brains like big brain people like you and know how this stuff. I'm a marketer. I'm a marketer, and I have ideas, and I just want to get to answers faster without the same level of work. There you go.
Got you. Nah, it was a pleasure meeting you as well. And hey, Jeff, how you doing? Give me 1 minute real quick. I'm gonna come back.
I'm just getting blessed. We couldn't find the link.
No, I just actually had oh, wait, are you saying you couldn't find the link?
No, I had to go through I had to go to your LinkedIn page, find the thing.
Really? That's so funny. It's some people are getting a lot of blasts, some people are not getting the blast, and then some in between. That's okay. I gotta keep track of that. That's interesting. But I haven't started yet. We got Bliss coming in, and we got his note taker. Literally about to get started right now. Is everybody familiar with Firecrawl or heard of it or no? Before I go into a little research and my own experience of using it and things like that.
I
Go ahead.
haven't used it, but I checked it out as a platform instead of vibe coding on scrapers. Uh, yeah, the limitations with social media is something that kind of put me off with it. But now that you said that it's an open source project, there might be some. So I'm interested in the application of it, the open source, so that you could configure it to still do social media.
Yeah, got you. Yeah, this I would say this one I probably will show some examples like using Claude Code with it, but I think it is kind of more of like a exploring conversation especially with like different ways that Firecrawl is being used, if that makes sense. So I did just put like a link there that I do have because I am like a content creator for Firecrawl and I do partner with them. I think they're like very great. Back to the point that I drive, like not trying to make your own social media scraper from scratch. You don't want to do that, and all those other things. So let me share my screen and go into the journey of Firecrawl. So I think I've been using Firecrawl for maybe like 3 years now, and I don't remember how I came to learn about it because I get information from all kinds of sources all the time, or probably more likely I saw them on Twitter or something like that. But I like them as a company. Some of the things that I'm going to show a little bit later are those are some of the reasons why, especially with it being open source. So one of the things I look for in a lot of platforms. Can you self-host it, and what do you lose when you self-host, opposed to when you self-host and other things like that. Other things like that. So if you haven't been to the page, what I do like about the platform is they let you kind of like play around with different examples. So you can not only scrape with Firecrawl, you can search with Firecrawl. They have an MCP. You can crawl a page. You can make agents. They literally just released a feature last night where you can supposedly create thousands of agents at once to do multiple scrapes and other things like that. I haven't played around with it, um, but it's very, very cool, very, very nice. And they actually just made a little skill or basically a CLI for Firecrawl, which obviously Claude Code is a CLI tool that just allows you to get up really fast and start using it. Also, if you were here yesterday for the Gamma, Firecrawl powers platforms like Gamma in their process if you've ever used them in the studio and you wonder how they get information and stuff like that. So I think the first thing I want to start off with is just like some of the things I looked at that I think are really cool with Firecrawl to help you get started, and then like just two small examples of like things that I've done with Firecrawl. So what I really like is if you go to their blog page, here it is right here, right? Extract web data at scale with parallel agents. But their blog, they have just a lot of amazing content. I definitely recommend people to come here. And also along like with these blogs, what I think is really cool about them is that they make like example apps, like open source version of apps for platforms that are used today that are powered by Firecrawl. So they've made a perplexity clone, they've made a lovable clone, they made somebody and they have like these bounties going on. So with the release of the CLI that they just made, they made this skill where you can like generate, I guess, like make Claude skills or agents with like the little thing that they have. It's really cool. They just have like a lot of open source alternative projects for things that are like all these crazy tools that are going popular today, which I think is like really cool. And it kind of, I don't know, I like that like dedication, I guess, in terms of like AI tools, how they're being developed, how they're like, they're just not like a closed source, meaning you have to like pay for everything, and stuff like that. And they're kind of like, not on, they're also in no code tools like Zapier and Meg if you want to automate N8N. I'll kind of get into that stuff later, but I think it's really, really cool. So I definitely want to talk about that. Like if you're not using it right now, you can just go to the blog page, go to their resources, look at some examples of some like cool things that people are using. I know social media is the number one, and I'll get into that a little bit, but I think that's really cool. And kind of going into like this self-hosting thing that I'm talking about. So if I go to their GitHub, and actually, I need to go to their GitHub. I can just go to their docs and go to self-hosting. So they have, right, contributing here. They have just basic information on like what's included in the cloud version and what's not included in the cloud version when you self-host. And I don't think it's this running locally one, it's the self-hosted one, even though they're the same thing. But to answer your question, Adrian, I think Adam, like, it's very simple to kind of get started with self-hosting. You come here, you grab this .env file, you give it to Claude Code. More than likely, you're going to be using Supabase to put information inside of here. As you can see, that's kind of like what they prefer right here. There's other platforms to use with that. Of course, once again, if you're not using the cloud version, you pay for things like a proxy, other things, Llama Parse. If you don't know what Llama Parse is, I'll kind of segue in a little bit. It's a very popular, I spelled that totally wrong, PDF like parsing software. Llama Index just threw me off real quick, but Llama Index is like the main thing, but they have Llama Parse and a lot of other things. So once again, you lose out on some of those native features that Firecrawl uses, but they say like, hey, here's the platform that, we use under the hood that's doing the same type of like powering of the platform. So I know one is Llama Parse and the other one is the proxy one. If I look through here, unless they updated it. Oh, I think they maybe changed it to this Sear engine. I'm not sure what that is, but of course you can do like uh, research on like all of these. But and then you can also use like self-hosted models, open source models. I think like Olama and other things like that. But it's pretty simple to get it set up. Just once again, all those other things that are not included, you would have to build it on there. So if there's some another software that you find. Obviously, I'm not talking about like Appify, but something else that goes to search web pages and you just need to format the data and do all those things. That's really like what you would be adding to do that. Very kind of simple. And then you put that up on, DigitalOcean or VPS or whatever, and it's running. And there you go. In terms of some examples that I have. So first, we come to a workflow. Very simple things besides social media. So like, and these are not like crazy examples because you guys might have some questions or maybe I'll give like a real life example. But I think one cool one is, and I thought I had it up. I had a client ask me to make a scraper. He's in real estate for like this. I forgot really what it is because I built it. He liked the MVP, but we put a hold on it because we're building out another project. And that is going to be a feature in this project because he doesn't want it to be like a standalone tool, I think, anymore. So it's basically this Zillow open house generator where I'm gonna have to update this because I haven't been in here so long. But you basically take a Zillow link, and I'm gonna let this load as this doing this. So come grab a Zillow link, put the Zillow link in here. This is going to grab the information from that Zillow page, format it in this way. That's not really pretty, but it's fine. But the main point is to create social media posts from this, an email, and kind of like this tour thing that will be emailed to the person. So I think let me post this just so you guys can see this while this loads. There's some other things going on. So here's a perfect example of using Firecrawl to scrape this information, and this is obviously done with code, so I don't like have the format of how it looks. But all I did was say like, you can make like what's called a schema. So you can identify, and I'll give an example of this later, of like what you want to pull from a page, and it's exactly going to look for that, right? So I say like, basically what I did was I went to Zillow, I asked Claude, like, what is the most basic information that pops up on a Zillow page, and basically formatted it like that. And that is like the criteria of what it must get. And if it doesn't pull it in, it'll just say it as false. But right now it's just using all of that information, which is this here, right? So we have property details, market analysis, the payment breakdown, the agent information, neighborhood scenes, climate risk assessment, schools, education, price and tax history. We made like a Twitter campaign for it. We made an Instagram campaign. We made a Facebook campaign. And then this is like the virtual tool script. And then I know he wants to add a feature where we tie this in with HeyGen to make a virtual avatar that takes the pictures, because you can also pull images with Firecrawl from like PDFs or web pages and use those images in the background of like a HeyGen video while the avatar is talking about this. So that's like one small example. Another example, and I don't have it fully here because I don't remember where I built this inside of Make. But when I used to make a lot of voice assistants for businesses, I would go scrape their page and get information to use that as a demo. So I would put in, I forgot how this works, but I know basically I think I'll just put in the website here, click create knowledge base, and it would go pull this information once again that I defined. So company name, phone, email, hours of operations, da 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 da. This would just basically be a knowledge base that I made in Google Docs, something very small that would be attached to a voice agent. So whenever I did like a small demo showing somebody a voice agent, I would already have that information pulled in and tied up somewhere and sent somewhere. And I think, do I have one more? Another trick that I learned playing around with Firecrawl, because once again, when I was building voice assistants, there was a knowledge-based platform called Treve, and um, I had some people who I wanted to like demo with that were using Shopify. So I found out this really cool trick that all Shopify URLs that if you type in at the end, I believe it's, oh, I'm gonna get it wrong. I think it's like it's something like this, something slash JSON. I'm gonna show you how easy this is. If I go to Claude, what is the correct format for this? Because usually they just have it built in to automatically do this once you put in the Shopify URL. But so say for example, you want to do anything with e-commerce, right? And you want to get all of the products from a Shopify account. And this is the same thing for almost like all e-commerce platforms. You can grab all of that information easily like this. No, it is not. Wait, no, don't give me a bad example. Hmm, I have to prove this point. Because when I found this out, this kind of like blew my mind. I was like, wow, okay, I see how people are like doing things. That's cool. There we go. It's this one right here. It's products.json. I'm thinking of WordPress because it's WP.json for WooCommerce. So if I put this in, right, I have all the information about the Shopify store. Super easy. And I'm pretty sure if Jeff is still in here, I'm pretty sure you're thinking about some people who maybe convert from Shopify into go high level to transfer that store, right? It could be done for anything. I have all of the information. Obviously, this looks like mumbo jumbo, right? So later on, I'll literally go here. Let's do this. And nobody has to follow me for this today. I'm going to make a new folder, going to make a new project. Let's look for my code folder. I can never just see my code folder off the bat. Okay. Then we're going to do, oh yeah, let's just name it Firecrawl. Because if we have time and if you guys want to see, I'll do the self-hosting for it too and have it set that up. Firecrawl. I don't like the way Visual Code does that and has that right there. Okay, so let's open up my terminal. Claw. And actually, first, before I do that, let's fast forward because actually, I think what's really, oh, that's still on page. I think what's really cool about this is now, and so you obviously have multiple ways to do this, right? You can put it in this MCP server, you can give it to Claude Code to have it just automatically connect and do that. I'm actually just going to play around with this skill really quick and have it download that and use that to scrape that page and just see what it does, right? So yes, I trust this folder. Now, once again, I have a lot of things already set up here, so I'm just gonna disable 9 MCP servers, take up a lot of context. And then I'm just going to say run this command. Don't need it to be in plan mode. It's asking me, do I want to run that? Saying yes. So cool. This little CLI thing right here pops up. This is the one thing about that. I can't select Claude Code. So one thing about some of the command, the universal. So I'm gonna stop this. And nothing went wrong here. It's just some commands sometimes actually need you to like do something, interact. And instead of just pressing yes because I don't want it to like link to something wrong, I'm just gonna actually select. As you see, it's like asking what am I using? And I'm pretty sure it needs to go like in the right name so it can work. All right. So that's what I'm doing. That's a Claude code. It's gonna install this globally. System link. Yes, proceed with installation. Yes, install. So now that whole process is done, which I probably would have needed to restart Claude Code anyway. So it's good that I closed it, started it back up now. And if I actually type in slash and look for some new skills that are probably related to Firecrawl, maybe I will see them. I don't right now, which is interesting. I wonder where. I don't see that skill actually. Do we have our Firecrawl skills or CLI installed? Says no. Which is weird because I do see this here. Maybe it's not reading the folder correctly. So it's looking for a package. Are you sure you don't see the folder that is listed agents and skills? And that kind of makes sense that this is looking for that because I think it thinks that this is an actual package when it's just like some markdown files. And I hate to be super technical with that, but we're not installing any dependencies or anything like that. So it's probably just kind of confused if that doesn't register correctly the first time. And maybe I actually messed it up. Maybe when it ran that command, and I'm just talking through basic troubleshooting because this might happen. When I asked it to run that command, it did run it, but I stopped it and ran it again to make sure it's in the right folder. And maybe something went wrong right there. See if we can fix it really quick before we use that Shopify as an example. And actually, and I'll give a real life example. I know probably a lot of people don't use Shopify here, but like I have some clients that use Shopify, and it's been really cool to be able to use like this URL to pull all their products. Because like in a Shopify dev store, I can just use their real products, and after a store is made, just transfer it to them. And once again, that same kind of concept can be taken with any um, e-commerce platform. Hmm. Okay. And I guess I was mistaken on what it was. Oh, nope, it was doing everything right. It does have this skill here. So can you use this skill to search this URL? Because I can't say website here. Let's take all of this junk. then if anybody wants me to use any other examples, I can spawn up some agents to go search some other pages and have some data returned and some other things like that. But I think right now I'm just using this Shopify as a small example. So now it is using the CLI to log me in, authenticating. CLI is good. Whenever you're using Claude Code, always, whatever platform you're using, if it has a CLI, ask Claude Code to use the CLI. It's way better experience. And CLIs have APIs running underneath. So yes, I'm technically connected to both. So I think it's gonna search in that page, just read in that file. What was retrieved? Hyperlink's full product and catalog in JSON contains the new Digimon collab my friend just dropped. The output is large, 0 lines reported, but uh, pricing, tags, view, JSON, or grab. I want to put all the information in a very structured format as I want to use this later to create a new store for them and a voice assistant for their store that will help people purchase products. So let's see what it's going to do with that. And what I'll actually do on the side right here, well, let's do two things at once, right? For anybody watching this who hasn't been at the previous builds, you can run multiple Claude Code sessions. So I'm just opening another terminal and I'm starting another session because I'm going to brainstorm on the idea of self-hosting, just spinning that up kind of like really quick, just running it locally because whatever you do locally, then you would push that to uh, production. So I can come back here since we already had this here, copy this page and say, can you go over this information? I want to set up self-hosting Firecrawl and test it out. And then I'm going to paste that information, which is there. Then that dude still it's probably going to ask me. Oh, it doesn't ask me actually because I gave it all that information. So this is making I think it's just making like this simple JavaScript command to search through this. Search something or something. That's searching that. This is doing this. All right, cat process 30 products, categories, shirts, other jackets. Process 30 products into 2 structured files. Let me show you a preview of each. I'm pretty sure that's going to be like right here. I'm not going to look at that because I don't want it to look like that. So let's see. 2 structure, complete catalog with all details, variant level pricing and SKUs. Shirts, others. The voice assistant format includes a ready to use description like, sure, what kind of additional fields are you thinking of? Just to let it keep building this and let this keep doing the research that it needs to try to do something. Any questions so far? All right, so for the store, here are some fields that could enhance the store and voice assistant. So slugs, badges, related products, size chart. I just pulling all of this information from Shopify. Um, and then that's so funny. I didn't even think about that pronunciation for the products, short descriptions, synonyms, all things that you would probably put inside of a vector database. All that would be embedded, especially when you want to pull large like product information like this. If you were to use it as an example for a voice assistant, sure, you can apply all of those. So would you like me to help you clone the Firecrawl repository from GitHub to set up your hosting? Uh, so I'll just say, yeah, sure, you can make a new folder in my code folder. You know what? Actually, no, I can just have it cloned to this directly because the stuff I'm doing with the Shopify doesn't really matter, so it's fine. So it's actually looking up the self-hosting documentation, making that plan. Let's updating that. I do have Docker desktop, which is what you will need. Uh, OpenAI. I would like to just leave them alone. It's asking me about the current files that we have here, which I don't want to mess up because we'll mess up some of this process. Now, mind you, also with this, what I'm saying right here, I'm just using like creating a voice assistant as an example. I could do anything. I could say, hey, make me a script for HeyGen because I want to make a UGC avatar to talk about these products. It could be for a voice assistant. It could be to improve maybe the photos that they have with Nano Banana or a plethora of things. But just pulling all that information once again so we can have every detail about a store. And what's also cool, and actually, I just want to make sure something because I don't want to be assuming that Firecrawl is being used and it's not, even though I'm sure it is. So yeah, my credit did just go up. I could have sworn I could look at that specific law, but I know this just went up because it was at 18% before. I just want to make sure like Claude itself isn't searching this JSON, which would defeat the whole purpose of me like showing what's actually using this. And then actually as a trick, what you can do, maybe you're thinking about like pulling information from a store. So like for example, my friend Bliss today, we had a meeting about doing this kind of process where we needed to get information from med spas. And of course, you're not just going to scrape the like only one page. You want to scrape like multiple pages of whatever, website or platform. So what's actually really cool about Firecrawl, like I said, it has a lot of things that it can do, but it has this map uh, feature that it can give to a domain, which will help you do a plethora of things. So actually, I think what will be way better is I'm gonna come to actually N8N, like the automation platform, and do this as an example to show that. So they have a Firecrawl node, I believe. Yes, they do. Um, that looks like update this really quick. And all I actually want to do really is I kind of like don't like how these, there we go. I want to do this map. This is exactly the perfect one that I'm talking about. And I'm not sure if this is my actual API key that's in there because I have like a lot of Firecrawl accounts. I don't have a lot of accounts, but I use client API keys and stuff like that. So let's come back here, put this here. So like, we're gonna use my site just as a simple example. Why doesn't it allow me to confused here? Oh, okay, I was gonna say, why didn't it allow me to like pick a URL? So I'm gonna just use my website really quick as an example. So like, let's say once again, using the same example, I wanted to make a voice assistant, but of course this could be for anything that you want to try to pull from a website, right? But you're not just going to scrape that first page of the website, right? So they have this map feature, which basically will give you like all of the URLs of a website so you can choose. Don't tell me this didn't do what I wanted it to do, or they updated this so much now that there we There you go. I think that was just a setting I need to put. Okay, never mind. Maybe it's because my website, I haven't submitted my sitemap and I just gave a bad example. But even before that, this is what happens when company makes update. I was able to put in a website, get, yeah, so it is funny. It's pulling in man, I haven't had that in a long time, but to give a small example, any other subdomains or domains that would have information about this website that would potentially help the process of you pulling data from, they have a endpoint for that, which is really cool. So to come back to this, that is the plan, which is just the documentation to set up something self-hosted. So we'll let that do play around and do what it's going to do. I think it ended up just putting it somewhere else and not putting it here. Oh no, I did it right here. That's what it's going to be. That. Any questions so far? I'm easier. And then I guess since we have no questions, I will try to scrape an Instagram post locally, self-hosted. Yeah, see. So let's close this here. And I have my .env here. In order to do any type of scraping, I need my API key, which I will change after this. No, actually, I don't need to change anything. That's my main one. I'll just make a new one right now. Oh, logged in. Okay. I don't think this is my password anymore, actually. Yeah, it's not. Why didn't it pop up my password? Oh, yeah, I don't think this is. Ah, authenticator. Make sure you want to authenticate all your apps. Sure. Uh, wow. Let's try that one more time. That's really cool. Then let me log in. right. And I have to wait. Two, eight. Maybe this time. Okay. I don't know what was up the first time. Move this down. I'm just gonna create. Yes. And put that. In. Let's save that. And this is still downloading because Docker is not a small file. Um, oh yeah, that's a lot of stuff. These are all the example apps and stuff that they have, which is kind of funny. So yeah, that's downloading. And this is kind of done. I can play around with this data if I wanted to, but I really think everybody's probably more interested in social media and stuff like that. So let's see what we can do. Last 30. I wonder if that's no, I can't even tell the status of how long this is gonna take to or where it's hmm. That's probably, see. That's probably what and it made a Claude MD file already. I did this too. Okay. I guess we're just playing the waiting game here until this downloads what it needs to download. Which actually, yeah, you definitely have to do something in between that time because I'm not really sure how to take. So no one has any other questions or examples of scraping any other type of page besides a Shopify page or anything like that at all.
Where does it put the results? Like into like Superbase or
You can put them anywhere you want. I don't have them anywhere here. They're JSON files. Like all this information is in a JSON file. I could put it somewhere, Airtable, Google Sheets, Superbase.
what about writing it back? Like what if you went like a use case would be somebody calls the name look then they can't find the phone number like to sit like so high level when somebody calls if it number is not in if they're not in the database it looks up to see if it can find the number itself and we'll put the name and city and all that in automatically.
Are you saying like from a workflow where like you went from this missed call,
I
you
call you called me,
okay.
you're in my database so it picks you up. You call
What
me and you're not in my database, the system automatically high level goes and checks to see if it can find your number and then we'll add the name and city and state automatically populate. If it can't, then it's an empty name unless we're so then we have like conversational AI that says, "Hey, what's your name?" That kind of shit. But if we could like send a request out to go and scrape to try to find the, I could see that being a use case.
You could. So you could see what data would be in there, what you would be having, if that makes sense. So they have, and hopefully my computer like starts catching up. I don't know why it started being slow or freezing right now. Doing even though that shouldn't be happening.
Bliss is trying to sabotage.
Let that hopefully come back. I don't think that's it, but it's weird that it just started happening, and I haven't had this happen for any of the calls. Okay. So Zoom is cursing me today, huh? Okay, maybe it's coming back. Maybe it's coming back. Maybe if I stop my screen share and try to come back. Oh, this is great. Oh, this has crashed my whole computer, huh? Okay, maybe I'm back. I'm not sure. Test, test, test. Can you guys hear me now?
I can hear you, but your videos, maybe turn your video off.
Yes, I was frozen like for so long. Now I'm trying to stop it, and it's trying to
Yeah,
tell me like to quit Zoom. I didn't want to quit Zoom just in case you guys were still here waiting. That was so weird. And I see
yeah.
your
Your camera's
comment.
all fucked up too. All I see is the top of your head.
Oh, really? One more.
Not that the top of your head. Now it's there you go.
Nah, this is like a magnet. It's like connected to a magnet. There you go.
Oh, pain in the ass.
Yeah, no, it's pretty
We
good.
call those pitas. Pain in the ass. Pain in the ass.
Okay, sorry about that. Now that I'm back and everything seems to be working, back to what you were saying. So I was trying to just understand like what fields you would be using to go do that search before I gave the example. So Firecrawl, now that my page was actually showing again, maybe hopefully I can use Chrome. Okay, I'll try this again. Give me one moment. They have a web search endpoint where like I'm not going to say it uses Google because it might, I'm not sure, but you can basically type in like Tylen Miller, Los Angeles, right? And information would pop up and you can go search those links to pull in back information to add it or try to verify or do whatever it may be. So actually, before I share my screen, I just want to try to make sure this is working so I can show that. And then I'll go to, do you have some actual URLs, Adrian, or do you want me to use like the web search feature that I'm talking about here?
I don't have any specific URLs. There's tons of the database stores for scientific publications. Um, so yeah, you can just go with
I'm gonna just
shoot
let
off
it
the
do
hip.
something. I was just curious if you had one. But
No,
here I
no,
just
not,
wanted to,
nothing
got
specific.
got you. Here I just want to show some of the endpoints that they have. So like to your example, Jeff, right? You could
Mhm.
one that has all the information here. But yeah, if you was using like conversational AI, because I guess you followed up with that person and then you asked whatever were like the qualifiers or like parameters would be the search query, then it would go do a search and try to do that. So like as an example, and I know I'm not in Claude Code, but let's just play with it, right? I don't think I have to put in that much information to get something back here. So let's just see if it just searches that. Look what comes up. True. TylenMiller.tech, my YouTube, even though I just changed up that name. YouTube, YouTube, dev name Chowder, the new stuff. I mean, so it's pulling in information about me, and I just typed in Tylen Miller. Right?
Yeah, it's the phone number, the one that we have like where we're getting a lot of orphan
Now,
um
what you
contacts.
could do is like you could use a Twilio API or a Telenex API on that number to like pull in a name because I think that's what you're saying. Like it might not be nothing there, and
Yeah,
then
but it's doing that like so the
mm,
number comes in and I'm pretty sure it's Twilio that they're using would make
mm,
sense, right?
mm,
And if it exists, then they're getting it's when it doesn't exist. And
yeah.
then 50, it's like then it becomes a human task to see if we can
Mhm.
get a name to that. So then like VA goes and tries to find it. And it's like 50-50 probably
Mm.
on whether there's, in a Google search, like
Right, right, right. I'm
sometimes
interested.
if you, yeah, like if you, when you get an international number, like in the format that it's stored in, like plus one, 123, 123, 1234, that format, when you search that in Google, it doesn't really give the responses that you would get if you
Now
then
let me. Now
if
I'll
you
use
if
it.
it's a Canadian number and you put the first three in brackets and then you search, we get hits. Or if it's an American number and it's three numbers dash, then the four numbers without the plus one, then we get hits. And that's how we cut back on about 50% of those
Mm,
nameless contacts. But
well, who is this?
if I eliminate having to do that,
That's funny.
no, that doesn't look like you, dude.
I just want to see. No, I know
I
it
need
wasn't.
an
I was just like
accountant.
super curious
I need
because it
a
was like
tech.
Tylen Miller, and I know
I
mine is
need
one. So I was like, who is CPA
I need a
manufacturer?
tech dude, not a fucking CPA.
Now, to your point, just to go into some extra like capabilities, I didn't show this as an example because I don't have it like built anymore. I built this so long ago and then gave it to the client. But I had a project where somebody wanted me to scrape an alumni directory. And the only way to
Hmm.
scrape this alumni directory was actually to log in. Firecrawl has those same capabilities. Firecrawl can basically use Playwright, log into a website. You can say like, hey, here's this website. Here is, and I'll actually show you. This is why I had N8N open here earlier, actually. And the whole point I'm driving to this point, maybe there's a website where you can put in phone numbers and it just gives you that information and you could use Firecrawl to do that. So before I built this into like an actual project, I was testing this here. And I don't mind showing this because I'm going to change all this information or it's all old. So I'm using the scrape endpoint, but in this JSON here, like I'm putting the URL And then like you can have a cookie, right, from a page and use that as your session to log in the website, right? So as I do all that, if I run this, it's actually gonna, and it's so funny because this cookie is so old, I don't even know how I was pulling this data.
I got a bounce for a 3 o'clock, but I'll try to come back.
No, you're all good. This will all still be recorded, or I'll probably go into more sessions on that. But to answer your question, to give like some more ideas of how you could use
Yeah.
that, because I get what you're saying now. Like you want to put the number in Google search to search something. If that's not bringing results, maybe there's like some website that does do that where you can kind of do this process that I'm facilitating, where you could just go in, put the
Oh,
number.
it's like a membership site. I gotcha. All right, cool.
Mhm. Got you.
I'll
Mhm.
try to. I don't think I'll be long. I'll only be 30 minutes, so I'll come back if I can.
Okay. And then let me go to your example now, Adrian, of doing that. So let's actually do that inside of here. This is still building stuff. Would you look at that? Let's start a new conversation, right? And clear this one with Shopify. And then I'm gonna take exactly what you said from the chat. Say, I want close this. I want to use Firecrawl to do this. I'm not even gonna have it plan on it. Let's just see what happens. And what would be funny, I wouldn't doubt it, is if it's gonna try to use this. Uh, it's gonna try to use this like self-hosted one right here that we're trying to set up. I bet it's gonna try to do that. Yeah, see, I knew it. Let's let me stop that. Let me be smart about that because I don't want to waste too much time. We're not that would be that's literally something separate. So let's come back here and let's take, oh no, I need to go back home. Ah, don't freeze on me. Why did you do all of that? I just need to, that's not home. I mean, it still doesn't matter because I have to, I love you, Firecrawl. Don't worry. I have to put in my API key. Oh, it already has it there, so it doesn't matter. Like I said, I'm going to change it anyway. It's already there, so it's just going to add it, and I can just close call it and start it up, and then we can have you use that. Set up the MCP. Also, which publication sources are you targeting? Maybe if some of those are the ones that you were talking about, Agent. I am not sure. Well, actually, I'm not going to respond to that yet because I need to come back to this conversation after I started over. So let it look for that really quick. Let's allow that. Okay, so I need to close that. Close. Start back up. Resume that conversation. Check if that MCP is here. Which they've changed how these MCPs look now. Now it says Claude AI, Claude AI. I don't see the one we just added, which has kind of been happening lately when I've been showing you guys how to add these MCPs. I'm not sure if that's like a bug or something. Let's try that one more time. It's actually interesting because I don't. Okay, so I see 9 servers now. It was just 8, but I don't see the Firecrawl one. I still don't see the Firecrawl server, and I have restarted Claude twice now. Did you put it in the wrong place, which will be ironic? Of course.
Hey, gents, while you're in between, I didn't want to be rude. I'm going to cut out as well. I have a
Oh no,
12
you're
done
good, man.
behind.
I
But
appreciate
hey,
you joining. All
I'm
these are all recorded, and they'll all be up on YouTube for you to come back and look at later, or any other events that you
right.
like.
So no, yeah, no session is a bad session, man. This is awesome. So just look at the critical thinking that you need to add to all of this is important for me too. So
Oh, that's really the most important part. It's you hear about using all these tools and doing all that, but I want to show like the in-betweens and kind of be hands-on. So any other session you join, if you have a Claude, um, if you pay for Claude, like I'll help you get set up with Claude Code to actually
do it.
participate in some of
Let's
these
do
ones
it.
you want to do. That's the whole entire point of building every one of these days.
Perfect. Awesome, guys. Have a good one.
You have a good one as well.
Bye now.
So now this is setting this up. There was something wrong. All right, so let's trust it now. As you guys can see, sometimes if you haven't experienced it yet, you never trust it on the first try. Yeah, the first try is always, I think it's good at trying to persuade us not to do it. I've never been an easy person to convince, to be honest, but and I still don't see it here. And no, never mind. It's right there. It's showing up now. Because as you guys heard me talk about before, all of these are my user MCPs, which are like always on every time I start a Claude Code, and then we just have this Firecrawl one, which is just like for this project right here, and then you can like view these tools and see all this stuff. Okay, we know it's there. Bada bing, bada boom. That's good. Let's go back into that conversation because I don't feel like giving context again and say. Now you can use the MCP and you can search up any website or database you can. I just want to use Firecrawl to bring in information on that topic. And I don't even want it to plan. Oh, are you serious? That's not what I did. And I have to say that message again. So now this is working. Now you can do the searches that I requested, and you can search up any database or anything related to pulling that information. Right? And then just, I mean, we know it's going to work because it has the MCP. It's going to pull my credits. So it's going to do a search. It's doing an MCP query limited to 10 sources. And look at that, it's doing a web search and the type is under news. All right, and then it did another one at nature.com. It did another one. Oh, no, I think these are the results that actually came in from that. And then it saved that output to like somewhere inside of here. Where did it say it saved it to? Hold on, give me a minute. I'm trying to guess really quick. Okay, I guess I lost where it said it saved that to. It's fine. So latest articles, Nature, with 4,000 articles, 4,500. Well, first off, Adrian, is this around the right topic or is this wrong?
I'm not looking for any specific topic. This is just
Okay,
for general trends, data analysis.
okay. Is this is any of this, can you see this clearly or do I need to bring this up a little bit more? Hold on. Okay, that didn't do what I wanted it to do, but it might be a little better. Can you see these topics?
Yeah, I'm reading through.
All right,
Hey,
any
AI
case.
safety looks good.
So I go deep dive on AI safety a little bit more.
Sure, let's give it a roll.
All right. I want to do some more research on the AI safety topic and just focus on that. Don't look up anything else. Feel free to pull in as much information as you want. and still be kind of limited by like 10 searches. Because then I'll be like yesterday and just instantly max out all my credits. Right now, I'm just playing. All right, so it's doing some searches, and we're getting a lot of information there. I could press O for all of this, but then it'll look like super crazy. But we can see like AI safety governance search. And once again, these are all web searches, right? So that type of mode that it's doing web, where it's actually like, I guess the equivalent is typing it in a Google search, is bringing in that information here.
So let me ask you a quick question.
But
Using Firecrawl over here, instead of asking Claude to build a scraper specifically designed to go into these scientific research paper sources, what's the benefit of having Firecrawl kind of sandwiched in between versus just
you
having
still,
Claude build one out?
when you, when I don't think so. One, I don't think these AIs, just because they have the ability to search or look at things on the web, are equivalent to a scraper, right? Like if you were to, and I don't know that's my measurement. So scrapers, one, get past JavaScript and all those other things. And I'm pretty sure some of these AI tools do it, but it's for sure a limit compared to a tool that's an actual scraper. And I also know that because I've searched certain things that I get 404 errors on, and multiple things that when I run through a scraper, I don't at all. And they don't have any like authentication or anything on that. Also, going into more advanced things, you can't use Claude Code to like what Claude Code would make you in order to do that is already what powers Firecrawl, whether you self-host it or pay for the cloud, if that makes sense. So I wouldn't kind of like, in my personal opinion, use a lesser version of this tool, if that makes sense. Almost anything that has to do with scraping is for sure at least using Playwright or Puppeteer. You can set those up now, right? On all my vibe coded projects, I use Playwright to make all of my end-to-end tests, right? E2E tests, if you don't know what that is, right? You make a feature, you want to actually test it, you make a Playwright test, it makes an entire script where it clicks the button, fills out the email, acts like an actual user, right? Same thing that we're doing here. It's what powers browser-based and all those things. It's just a matter of what else are you going to have to build out, probably really determine on what you're doing. If what you're doing doesn't have a lot of JavaScript protection, you don't got to get through CAPTCHAs, you don't got to worry about proxies when you hit it. You get what I'm saying? Like it's more than just grabbing that information there. There's a lot of other things in between that. And Firecrawl or any other web scraping platform for that service will have that covered. Where Claude Code, like you're just basically going to end up doing that same thing. At least even with self-hosted Firecrawl, you only need to go get a proxy service and other things, which are fairly cheap to start off with, and not build all those other things in between, or just even still use a platform that. And I think all of those things to add on top, like out of all the things I would have Claude Code build, and even before AI came out, I've always been like this as a builder. I'm not building anything from scratch that has already been built. There is no point and no benefit in that. And more than likely, AI is probably going to be using some part of what is already built to do that. I don't think people kind of truly understand what it means to like build something from scratch and like not be built on top of anything that exists currently. So if I already know that scraping itself is a very complex thing, I'm not going to build any part of it. If I have to pay 8 microservices to do all those one things, I'm probably going to do that. It's going to be way easier, probably cost me less time and less money than trying to do it myself. And on top of that, being me personally, because I know I don't specialize in that, I need to talk to someone or hire someone that does web scraping. And I would be pretty sure that they would say, you should probably just use these things instead of trying to build it because they also know the complexities of that. That's just my mind personally, how I would think about it.
Makes sense.
So let's see what popped up here. Good amount of information. So based on 10 sources, we have International AI Safety Report, capability doubling, expert level task, chemistry. Oh, this is actually some interesting stuff. Let me read the detail. AI task completion length doubling every 8 months. First model completing a 10-year expert level cyber task in 2025. Models are 90% better at PhD experts than PhD experts at lab troubleshooting. Success rate jumped from 5 to 60 on replication task. Found universal jailbreaks for every system tested. That's funny. Apollo and OpenAI. Landmark collaboration finding. I don't really kind of know what that means or if that's really.
Hey, would you mind going into how would you deploy the open source Firecrawl
Yeah, so let's
using
finish this
Claude?
up. I don't think this is gonna work because I didn't even. Oh, I did put this already in my .env, right? Yeah, I did. All right, so now it's testing. All right, so all that is running. So simply, how would I self-host this on DigitalOcean? Let's see. SSH. Yeah, I knew I was gonna say that. And I have a SSH, but it's not connected to this one. It's connected to my Hostinger one, which I need to pay my bill today. So how do I want to do that? I do CPU. Actually, I don't think it's right here. I actually don't.
Hostinger would be probably better.
I mean, I'm just showing it as an example. Right now, it doesn't matter. It could be anywhere with Docker. Um,
Yeah, it makes
I'm
sense.
trying to think right now. With my Hostinger bill literally just ended today because I was just using it to test something. So I just wanted to make sure this SHH MCP is not connected, so I can just do it really easily. Please don't tell me your reason on me again. Thank you. Read these instructions and we can use this as a MCP to connect into my DigitalOcean via SHH. Then what I will do, and then I use DigitalOcean anyway because I just have hella credits in it, and it doesn't cost me anything to test. When my hosting your stuff, I actually use that, so I don't really put like testing stuff on there. But once again, of course, you can use anything Docker. It's Docker. I just need my API. Could have sworn my API was here. Am I forgetting something? Okay, we'll come back to that. So literally just what I'm doing is I'm using an SSH MCP so it can log into my server for me because I don't feel like doing it the other way that you would normally do it. Ah, you know what? Actually, that's why that MCP is actually connected to my desktop, not my Not my Claude Code. Just remember. So I need to. This is the one thing why I wanted to think. I would have to. Oh, I can be kind of lazy and try to kill two birds with one stone. Can I just give you my DigitalOcean API key and you can create everything that's needed and log into the server? To do all this stuff. All right. Don't want to do the SSH thing, but so of course, once again, I'm going to delete this token. Anybody watching this video after, you should not put your environmental variables inside of a chat because it can give that out in another chat. I'm literally going to delete this after, and I'm just trying to fast forward some of this process. So I gave it my API key because instead of creating a droplet and doing all these other things that I'm going to need to do, I'm just going to have it do it itself. Then I'm going to delete it after, or have it deleted after. And it made an SSH key and it did all that stuff. It's going to use it, pull it, bam. And that reminds me, I actually have something I need to do. I have a security management video I need to make where you can have something just pull all your API keys dynamically to be used for different platforms. So that's what I need to start doing for my clients again. All right, so it's creating all that stuff, droplet created. Just look at that. Just not how long now to take me to do, even though I know how to do it. Don't have the time. Up and there goes the droplet Firecrawl server. Okay, so I keep finishing that. I don't even think it need the MCP anymore to connect or do it. Oh, well, yeah, maybe because it was waiting for it to boot up and get the IP address and I think the password that it made, but it knows that already, so it should be just fine. Still doesn't matter. I gotta wait to reset this, run this command to add the SSB server. So let's take this command, even though I can tell it to run that command by itself, which normally I would do. Let's just take this command. It needs to be like exactly like that, not anything extra. And we can literally go to this old conversation. Let's clear that up. Let's close it actually. Run this command. Added that. Let's close this. Let's start back up Claude. Remember, every time you add an MCP, you need to restart Claude. Let's check if that MCP is here. Look at that. You see it right there. I'm actually going to turn off this so I can have back some of my context. Let's resume the conversation that we had. Turn off my mode. Say, go ahead. It is installed. All right, so it checked that server. It sees that Docker is ready. Now it's cloning Firecrawl into that server. Checking the self-hosting configuration, creating the environmental file. Now it's doing that same process that it was doing with us. Hopefully this will probably be a bit faster though. So it's doing the building in the background. And so far that was like 6 minutes. Started a DigitalOcean server, configured the DigitalOcean server, set up Firecrawl. It took about 6 minutes. I'm probably gonna take, let's see, maybe like 5 more to actually test from that endpoint that we're gonna get. I'm not gonna set up a custom domain. I'm probably just gonna use the regular IP. So yeah, these containers are gonna take a little bit.
Yeah, I gotta say this is pretty impressive. The velocity of being able to deploy this so fast is just amazing, man.
Mm-hmm. Like I said, it's all about being, I mean, I don't know, my philosophy is always hands-on because what we were already at a time where like you can non-technical people can do these things. Of course, just AI makes it a bit easier or better depending on what the perspective is. But even before we were at where we were at now, I was able to like understand this is not my specialty, right? But I've been in here enough time to know how things work or what's going to happen when you run these commands and all those other things. And I was able to set up Firecrawl and really easy, self-hosted, and they've made improvements to making it easier to self-host. I mean, most of the platforms that do stuff like this always do. It's their goal to make it as easy as possible to self-host. It just depends on what they're using, right, to power it. And, you know, do you have to pay for that or is there an alternative or whatever the case may be? But I guess my whole point of saying that is just a lot of things are really easy to get set up and start playing around and doing. It's just, I think, I really do think a lot of other people kind of make that scary for no reason.
Yeah, I mean, so far my takeaway is that in terms of exploration of these different types of deployments that you've showed us, across several days, um, it's very impressive. You can do a lot of different things, and in terms of like playing around, I think that's great. I'd love to. Well, I think where it gets scary is that if once you need to make this a sort of if you wanted to do make like a production aspect, make it a production system, going back and and cleaning up everything that Claude is doing behind the scenes, right? Because
I agree.
it will take the fastest route, the least resistance to install and make it running. But there's considerations for security and just kind of going back and cleaning up
Yeah.
if there's anything else that was left exposed because it's looking at functionality first and security is not
And I was
probably
gonna
not
say,
on the radar.
yeah, and I was gonna say, those are things like all that's true, which is why, we got extra settings for that. There are other, and the reason why I'm not like be, besides what Claude Code offers natively, I'm not talking about like Ralph Wiggum or like all these other things, which are once again, you understand why you would use those on top of Claude Code because it might miss those things, if that makes sense, right? These plugins or these other type of skills or things that people created to clean up dead code after a feature is made and all those other things. But it won't make sense of like, why do I need this if I think Claude Code is already doing everything that it needs to
Yeah.
do? Yeah. I agree. I mean, I think everything is scary. It's just a matter of like knowing all the like not resources, but I just use the word normal development process is what saves you from that, right? So it can be the same thing, right? Like you can, um, let's say you created a project and you forgot to clean up all the dead code, but because you committed those projects and you had them on different branches and stuff, now you're able to have a timeline where you can go back and do those things. You get what I'm saying? So like
Yeah,
what is the
yeah,
type of level of fear you want, right? Do you want like the normal fear that would come with what you would normally get? Or do you want to like not know any of those things? So when like that level of fear does come, it's something that you really can't control and it puts you like in a shock. I'm scared all the
yeah.
time of changes, but like it doesn't bother me because I know, oh, I can go back, or oh, this thing is set in place, so I can do this, and it's not gonna get me stuck or make me feel like I can't do anything.
Yeah, yeah. Now, context is important, right? Because,
Mhm.
depends on it depends on what you want to use this for, right? Like if you just want to spin up a project to do something and then you shut it down, then you just use it as a tool, right? It
Right,
just
right.
then you really don't care as much about the longevity and persistence of the project and
Right.
security maybe because
The
it's just a
upkeep
tool.
doesn't matter. Yeah, it's just a tool for
Yeah,
you.
you just get it done and then, you get the data, whatever you need to do for whatever project you're working on and you're done. And then there's a different mindset if you, let's say, want to put this into production and I don't know, like some people build, SaaS and then they need to offer this as a service. So it's got to be stable. It's got to have all these different things. But then the mindset that you have when you develop these things and use Git and and have version control and everything. And like you said, then you can always go back and clean it up and kind of branch out and continue on.
I mean, you can
Um,
start on a new idea where like everybody right now is starting on that new idea with the idea that's already running live in production, if that makes sense. And you branch off that way. Yeah, I
yeah.
give a lot of people more credit than they have. I just think like I do think like more devs need to speak up, even if they're not programmers, because I do think we're getting to a point now where like, and I was explaining this to my friend, like, because he was like, "Oh, why are you doing like this build?" And I was like, "Man, I have to do something to like actually show something different of what's going on." Like, I really feel for. I know this is kind of like a segue off topic. We're just letting this like load up because it takes a while for this to go to the server and deploy, right? But
Hmm.
with the open claw thing, like n- no, none of these creators are coming out and saying like, yeah, I basically told you about a product that, oh, I don't know if you know, like had no security. And I'm not even talking about from like your side. I'm talking about I right now can go to Moltbook and open up the entire database and talk to every agent that's ever been deployed on there and get all of your information. You know what I'm saying? Like
Hmm.
that is terrible. That's bad. And I feel like people who aren't like looking at that, I don't know, I'm just drawing a line really between like what's influencer content, what's like AI content, and what's educational or educational AI content, if that makes sense. And I
Yeah,
was
yeah.
on the
I mean,
other
the project started as a the whole Maltbot thing was just like a little research thing, right? It wasn't trying to
well,
do some kind of a
I just want to make sure we're all clear just for anybody else watching this too. The creator of Moltbot, OpenClaw, those three names, that he has nothing to do with the Moat book AI
Mhm.
social agent one. So that's the one I'm talking about. That now
Oh, I
both
see.
of them don't have security, right? I want to be super clear. Both of them don't have security. But what's happening on the Moat book, right? The social media platform where everybody's putting their agents to register, that was a completely vibe coded platform. Since
Hmm.
the days that it's been open, actual security developers have made open tweets saying, hey, I can access the entire Moltbook database and see
Hmm.
everyone who's registered an agent, which guess what? Those agents are registered to also OpenClaw, which means
Hmm.
you see where I'm going?
Yeah, yeah.
Everybody wants to make these videos saying, "Oh, I made this secure and made no, you didn't make anything secure because the actual source is not secure. And if you've registered
Hmm.
your agent on there, that agent isn't, you get what I'm there, and we're not even talking about prompt injection, which isn't solved and all. It's very bad, and I have to really sit down and kind of take, like, just
Yeah,
think. I'm gonna recommend these things and do this stuff. Like, I really
yeah.
need to be at this educational, hands-on, different type of approach instead of really just being an influencer who wants to just get clicks and titles and be popular or something. Like it's
Right, and I think that's where like velocity of novelty comes in, right? Someone comes up with something new and then just blows up. And again, like if it's a whether it's like a little research project or an experiment or something like that, it's a different intent versus like if someone is building some kind of a tool from ground up, right?
right.
And so, more and more we're living in a time where people are more and more comfortable with that, just kind of doing things and see where they go, and that's part of the excitement, right?
Right. And don't get me wrong, I do think like there's learning points from it. But like I said, there's fine lines that you draw in between like each one of those. But back to the main point of like just showing these tools and what they can do and everything in between, I think is like super important.
Yeah, I
But
think a lot of value in what you're doing is just the exposure of a lot of different tools and how they are all kind of stitched up together and the way you're using them and the way you are thinking about even kind of processing a problem, right? Like, hey, you can just talk to Claude and it's like, oh, all right, yeah, I'm just going to use Claude to talk over SSH to DigitalOcean or Hostinger to deploy a droplet or a Docker versus
I
like,
don't want to
all right,
give it
let
the
me look up all
commands
the
to tell
documentation on how
me.
to do that
Yeah.
manually and then use Claude to kind of help me in those little gray areas where I'm not sure. It's a whole kind of a mind pivot. So it's really interesting to see how you're kind of utilizing these tools. I'm learning a lot. So that's really cool, man. So yeah, I appreciate that, man.
Hey Jeff, welcome back. We're just deploying like self-hosted Firecrawl to DigitalOcean. So what I did was just go get my DigitalOcean API key and made a droplet. It's setting up all the configurations and it's just taking some time to load all of that and restart. So my goal is before I end this is to get that IP address, try to go maybe search like Instagram or LinkedIn, just get some results to just show that this is in its own environment, self-hosted, and you can, build on or see if I can just get to that little quick point really quick.
Do we need to self-host Firecrawl?
If you want to do like, so in Adrian's case, he wants to scrape social media. The cloud version doesn't scrape social media. So you would have to self-host it and kind of add like that feature if you wanted to do that, if that makes sense.
And while Claude is doing that, we're turning in this session into a little side podcast.
We should be record. We should be on Riverside recording.
We'll talk about that next time when I do some events next time. This is recorded though. I do have all of these, of
We can
course.
pull them into Riverside, and it'll gen all your shorts for you.
Yes, I'll when all these are done, I'll send them to you. I'll have like a file where you can just like pull them and play around and send me something back if you want to. So
We
yeah, I
could
think
set up a Riverside room now, and then it would be the same link every time.
uh I think I have to go.
No, I don't have to spend 10 minutes finding your LinkedIn page to register for the next day.
No, I was gonna say I haven't done the last 15 days of
Yeah.
the month. So maybe that might be something I might hit you up about. But if not, like I have some events that I'm still gonna do that we could probably try using that. It's just Luma like is already connected to it's like it's just an option right there. Trying to do
Yeah.
that. Maybe that might open doors to like a Luma Riverside integration. I don't know if they let people build stuff like that. I might have to look at that. See.
The API.
Yeah. They have one. It's hella expensive to get it, like $60 a month just for like the first Luma upgrade. But
For the
I would
Luma API?
yeah.
But what would the benefit of that be?
I've never looked at their API documentation, so I literally have no clue.
But what's Luma? Just a scheduling?
It's just like an event. It's just like an event platform. It's like
Yeah.
a what's the word I'm looking for? Like an Eventbrite kind of.
Yeah, but just I would just do it all and you know where. You don't have to pay for it.
No, I just it was just super easy to use it because I use Luma to go to other events if that makes sense. Like
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
a lot of events that are hosted not just virtually but in person as well. So one for me, in-person events using Luma would be good because that's what I'm gonna do. But I just started off with these virtual events, and then when I ask you like what link do you want to put or use or whatever, I just already click Zoom because it already had like pulled in my Zoom information or whatever the case may be. So let's take this as an example. because this is technically set up on the server. And let's go to N8N. Let's go just to a new automation or workflow. And what? Oh yeah, I don't have to put in an environmental variable, huh? Because it's like already in my EV file. Oh my God, would you look at that? All right, let's do this.
So you just created the N8N instance in DigitalOcean, and you're connecting your Firecrawl in there?
Uh, well, that uh N8N was already set up. I'm just like sh just using that like in automation to show that I'm using like the self-hosted version, if that makes sense. And instead of just like doing it in Claude Code so it looks like ugly, I can't have it do that. I'm just using like N8N as just like a visual thing to do that. So let's change this to a link. I wouldn't be surprised if I get, wow, there you go. Look at that. There you go, Adrian. Now, of course, you'd probably like change all this. This isn't saying like that markdown is really the only thing that's really important. And if you look at this more, it's saying that like it needs to log in and do stuff. But just the fact that it's even like getting a 200, which is not a negative, means it's reading this page and looking at this page, if that makes sense. Then what you would do, like really do, is take this here, come back, and then say, I just did a test. Look at the response that I got from here. I tried to scrape Twitter, but it didn't let me. What would we need to do in order to get information from a social media site? Oh, that's no, thank God. Press enter and it didn't work because that's not what I wanted to paste. So come back here. So what happens is if you don't know, if you click inside of that, I need to like click over here. I need to close this, open it back up, and then just click this. Because if you click anywhere inside of here and then click copy, it does not copy the whole thing for some apparent reason. And like it's gonna like mess up your brain and be like, why is that not copying it? I'm trying to do it. Okay, so what happens when you just know how to copy a lot of stuff and it all the time. So you would literally take this, and I think this would be like the best point of reference for like whatever you searched and it didn't pull in back that information of what you would try to do. And I'm pretty sure there's other information or probably other proxy. So yeah, it's gonna tell me like proxy like Oxylabs, which Oxylabs is something that Firecrawl recommends to actually use. Um, to like switch proxies and do rotations and stuff like that. But this would um, tell you that right here. So it's basically saying like, hey, one, pass cookies, best for self-hosted. So you would log in, and there's easy ways you could grab your cookies or put it somewhere, like add it to this environmental variable file to be pulled, right? But the obviously, and this is kind of no different, Agent, if you're familiar or if you've heard like what we try to do with the no code architects API toolkit when we try to pull from like YouTube or Loom, we're using the cookies, right? Your actual account to scrape to like impersonate that.
Yeah,
Or
yeah, I'm tracking. I just want to use that cookie session cookie as authenticated authentication token.
Gotcha. Exactly. Right. And then and obviously it's like really easy to pass that. You just like inspect the page or go grab that, do whatever the case may be. Or you get a proxy. So like I'll go really quick. And I'm not gonna say a proxy is bad. Once again, it just depends on like what you're trying to do. I've set up Oxy Labs before the first time that I did do this. Like I told you, I had set this up before and actually before I go to log in, I was trying to go to the pricing page. I know it's just gonna automatically log me in. So like a lot of these are, I mean, I would say cheap. Obviously, things add up as you use them, but I think it would be like a residential proxy, and then like here you see like the prices for that. So you could come here, buy a proxy for whatever reason. Maybe the cookies don't work. I don't know. I'm just saying different options. Put that inside of there, and then use that to help get past that you got to log in to see this, and bam, there you go. You add that. You could have this do a test inside of the server itself, or it would tell you like, hey, we updated this. It'll give you some another curl request, and then you just go put it in like I did, and then you test it, and you see that information there, and there you go.
Right on.
All right. Yeah. So I think that was a good little Firecrawl session today. Adam, did you have any questions?
No, I don't.
Everything made sense so far. Everything
Hmm.
all good. Very sweet. Yeah, I think like I said, I Firecrawl is great. I think, and I didn't even really go over a lot of the things that they can do. But I think playing around with Claude Code, as you guys can see, putting in that documentation or just asking it about its features, you'll find a lot of cool ways that you can use it for different things. I do think the feature of like logging in, and I have some projects that I think I'm gonna be doing more of this, like that alumni one that I mentioned, where basically I need to like log in and have it do something really quick into whatever platform and like confirm something once a trigger happens to have something go off. I know in Go High Level I have like something that I might be doing that with some checking up on something or confirming some stuff. But that is like an underrated feature that I don't see a lot of, and I think it works better than other browser automation tools like Browser Base and all those other ones. Personally, because I've used them before. I personally dedicated to only using Firecrawl. So yeah, that's it, you guys. It was a pleasure. Tomorrow I think we're doing self-hosting, which is a whole different
We just did didn't do that, just did that today.
that's kind of why I didn't want to lead into that, but it can't be helped. Some of these things are gonna do that, like even with the voice one that I talked about, we'll have a VAPI one later. But I think tomorrow I'll focus on like N8N or Live Kit a little bit more, like actual technical, more maybe like quote unquote advanced type of thing, or maybe I might do post it as a social platform, and that's a little bit different, Jeff, because you use Go High Level, but just in terms of setting up something, self-hosted on a server that you might want to use for whatever reason.
Well, it's kind of interesting with Agent Studio now because it's like you almost have a self-hosted environment inside High Level with Agent Studio.
Yeah.
So for really basic,
I was gonna say really quick for one of the other 15 days, like if you have a high level topic you want me to do, I'll do one. I just haven't thought of what I want it to be. I've been thinking in the realm of social media, but if you have something that
why don't we start tackling the podcast short thing?
okay. What's your
So like I've been playing around in the studio and I almost have it working. I got couple little things to do, but basically I can take the URL from the podcast,
mhm,
like the YouTube link from the podcast, and then I can bring it in through Agent Studio and generate a blog from it, and
okay.
then write that directly to um, GHL blog. And so interesting.
Send it to me on WhatsApp. Let's talk, and then we'll put that as a day and make a little thing like that using Claude Code with high level and we'll use that
It'd
like
be
a
like, yeah, if we could get like, yeah, use the Agent Studio to use Claude Code to interact on the things that it can't do. What's really nice is that all the native MCPs are actually be built in where you won't have to map them.
right. Yeah.
The other side is the compliance factor because everything's inside. They just got SOC 2 compliant on Friday, right?
Yeah, I saw the announcement.
So now they have all the audit trails, all the things, and then as the agents start doing work, there'll be audit trails on the agents, which is going to be a big issue for anybody that's running that has OE insurance and any cybersecurity insurance. So there's a big business play on that. Um,
Okay.
Aside from we have all these great things we can do all over the place, but some of the
Right.
stuff that we do, like an associate of mine had fucking program Manus on Manus and created an agent that was going in and logging into his high level account to send emails. He didn't know what the hell he was doing. And it just went ape shit and started sending all this crap to everybody, right? And it
That's
was
funny.
like coming from him. He's like, what the hell did you do? And I'm like, you know, what are you talking about? And so we went and started looking. I'm like, no, you sent that. How the hell did you send these emails? Like,
Right. Looking at the audit log, like, what the hell?
yeah, what did you do? Yeah, right.
I
And
don't
of
know.
course, the email servers didn't like it, and it was like all generated with like the M dash emoji, like so blatantly
AI,
AI
you can tell, yeah.
content being sent out. Like it's just a waste of everybody's time and money. The point being is that they were able to go in and do some damage to themselves just because they didn't know what they were doing and they didn't understand that when you're using these technologies, there's a level of responsibility that goes
Yeah,
with
for
them,
sure. Yeah. Well,
right?
Brain, so
So
you got my WhatsApp, so send me a message. Let's brainstorm on it
sure,
more.
yeah.
And we can put a day on it, or maybe if it's a couple of different ideas, maybe it's one, two, three. It doesn't matter. I'll be open to it. Just let's talk on it a little bit, and
Well,
then
one would be connecting Claude Code inside Agent Studio would be neat to play
okay.
on, and then once you have that, then you can start doing other APIs, right?
Okay. Let me well, you send me something, but in the meantime, I'll go look at those endpoints again, and then I'll brainstorm something and send something to you too then, and then we could finalize
Yeah,
on it.
yeah. The only thing that's weird, they're doing a switch on the 18th of February. They're getting rid of all the legacy APIs. So now you
Oh, I
have
don't
to,
even use those anymore. Yeah, I saw that. You have to. I saw somebody make a post like, "Yeah, I'm using Get Contacts one," and I'm like, "Bro, it says right underneath. Like, I don't know why
yeah.
they."
So now you got to do a private, but you have to do a private. A lot of people have trouble. I haven't done it. I got to go create a private integration
Bro, I've been
to,
did that like 3 years ago. What they need to do is make an endpoint where you can just deploy that because you know what I actually do. I cheat now because a lot of people that I do go high level work for, because that switch that they did where like everybody basically had to make their apps free. Jacob has a really good, and other people have it too, but they have really good apps that already use the OAuth V2. So whenever I have automations for people where I need to create a new sub account, I use that access token that's already generated. So it's like one that's already generated at the sub account level, and then you can create a private access token where you actually have to go in manually, turn it on, set all of the scopes that act as V2, and then use that.
yeah.
Well, yeah, I
Yeah,
know
it's
what you're
kind of it's kind of weird because the bear it's got this now. It's now a pit, right? So
pit,
like
yeah, pit token.
where
Yeah,
you go, like normally where you go and get your API is now a dynamic OAuth thing that you can't use. So you have to create the private integrity. So you can't go in the old way anymore. You have to do it.
yeah. I know that's gonna mess up. I don't know why so many people survive so long. I mean, to be honest, it's Go High Level's fault. They should have been a little bit more strict and not waited like 4 years to mandate something that they knew is gonna
I
be like.
think they needed the SOC 2 done
So
before they could.
they did a fully. I
Yeah,
that makes sense.
yeah. I think that was they're kind of like that one now that they have that. Now they get rid of the V1, make it exclusive to V2.
Got you. All right.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I'll
Anyway,
get on that and then I'll brainstorm you, but I'll catch up with you guys later. I appreciate you guys showing. In about an hour, this will be uploaded to the YouTube with all the other 3 days if you guys want to watch it again.
Appreciate
cool,
you,
man.
man.
Thanks.
Island, this was awesome. And we'll see you at the next one.
No problem. I'll see you guys later. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Cheers, brother.